What is going on, everybody? Ryan Leary, William Tincup here with the Practitioner's Corner. William, I see you waving at me. How are you today?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well.
Oh,
It's a good day.
Never had a bad day in your life?
No, I've had several. But not today.
Not
Today's a good
today. Today, who sang that song? Today's good day. What was it? What was the name of that song? It's completely slipped from my head.
You're on your own.
Cube. Ice Cube. Was that
Yes.
right? Am I off? Am I way off?
No.
Way off?
Yeah, but I don't know what the name of the song was today. It was a good day.
Yeah, no. Anyway,
Worth
we are
investigating.
here for somebody more important than us. We are talking with Rachel Dalboth. Dalboth. I got close.
So close. You were so close.
From the Talent Labs. Rachel, how are you today? Welcome.
I am well. I was just saying to you guys a second ago, it is toasty here. It's like, how could we start this without just having a moan as a Brit about the fact it's now hot?
Wait, are you in Texas too?
No.
You don't sound like you're in Texas.
I'm not in Texas. I feel like I'm in Texas. It's not, but yeah, it's we've finally got summer. Finally got summer.
Yeah.
Nice.
She's about an hour outside of London.
Yeah.
Ish.
So Rachel, this show is all about you. This is the Practitioner's Corner. So we want to learn about your background, your history, your journey, the good, the bad, not the ugly, because there's never ugly. But
never.
Yeah.
Never.
Why don't we kick us off with an intro? Tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Sure.
What are you doing?
So, hi, I'm Rachel. I work as our director of TA Centre of Excellence, which is a very fancy way of saying that
Fancy.
That's a very fancy way of saying
I feel very insignificant.
My God.
Yeah, but head up the team that curates and creates all of our kind of expert TA content for the Talent Lab. So, for those that don't know the Talent Labs, people might know us more historically as the firm. It's the rebrand recently. So, we've been around since about 2007, started as a marketing group. Obviously we have the Talent Labs, looking after talent professionals globally, and I head up a team that looks after TA Excellence, all the content out of that. So that's kind of my role at the moment. Been in TA for over 25 years. Must have loved it, right? One of those that fell in and didn't fall out. Yeah, absolutely.
Beep.
Yeah, 20 beep.
What the reasoning for the rebrand? Was it just time?
It's been to be proud. Yeah, no, very good question. So I think it's very well known that there needs to be a little bit more of a connectivity of the dots, right, between all of those kind of what were silos in talent management, talent development, talent acquisition. So I think we've really seen that need in our pit, responded to that, kind of really expanded that portfolio out across talent professionals globally. So been very well received. It was a busy few weeks, but really pleased that that's.
Did we just talk about the company name, The Firm?
That's pretty cool.
The Firm, yes.
Pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie. The Firm.
Pretty
But
cool.
the Talent Labs is really good too. So that's two really good names. But
Thank you.
Firm. The Firm just sounds like
Where do you
I'm
work?
either gonna be
Firm.
scared about you, scared
Oh, yeah.
about you, scared of you, or it means I really need to be in touch with you. I'm not sure which, but I like the name.
Well, it means a
It's
lot
like-
of different things in different places, right? So globally,
correct.
it has different influences, which is another thing that we had to think about. And it literally is just the forum for in-house recruitment managers. We're not just for recruitment managers. We're not just for managers. We're
it's an
certainly not just for
acronym.
recruitment now. So again, the name was part of our history, but the Talent Labs is our future. So
Oh yeah. What's the CIA? Most people that are close to that world, they don't call it CIA. They call it the agency.
The agency, yeah.
That's so like they don't. If you're in that world, they don't ever say CIA. They just say agency, and you know what they're talking about. So,
interesting.
The Firm.
Interesting.
Anyhow, so you've been working for the Firm for how long?
Come up 6 years this year, which is fun. It's just gone. So there's daytime flies when you're having fun about it. So, big move. Obviously previously at Unilever, so I was heading the UK and Ireland recruitment team. And I think I was employee number 4, maybe, or 5 at the Talent Labs. Yeah, just shy of 6 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
So
Tell us
how
about
many
a
employees now?
day.
Almost 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's greatness.
Yeah, it's
So
really
a
growing.
day in the life at the Talent Labs. What's that? What is that for you?
Gosh, well, no, yeah, look, everyone says no 2 days are the same, right? Genuinely, they're not. I mean, I'm really blessed. I do something that I love without still being a recruiter or in that kind of pure recruitment domain. And I think that was always a bit of a concern personally. You
Right.
know, talking
Right.
just as Rachel personally, I think making that shift out of that, having done it for so long, was a really big decisions were made. One, I have not regretted for 1 second of any day, because it's using that experience. It's still in that industry that I love, but it's doing something different, right? So the role that I play is about looking at our strategies. So how do we think about content, research? How do we think about the training consultancy services that we have? You know, you're not dealing with the same fight, you're not dealing with the same problems, you're not dealing with the same people. So for me, that's just an absolute privilege. And I mean that without being like totally cheesy about it. It's an absolute privilege to kind of go in and with the team get under the skin of what the problems are people are trying to solve. And so, I mean, we all know talent acquisition is a bloody hard job. There's no point pretending otherwise. Huge amounts of pressure. And if we can, you know, if myself and the team can do whatever we can to support people are doing the job that I loved, but I know was hard at times, then that's a good day as far as I'm concerned. And now we're doing that for talent professionals and qualities. So yeah, super cool.
So this show is about you, your background, and all that fun stuff. And we did a little bit of talking in pre-show, but I think it's worth bringing it out to the audience. So how did you get started in this space? For everyone that's listening, how did you jump into the world of HR?
Well, I'm sure I'm weird because I didn't do a stint in agency at all, like at all. And
Which is odd.
it is odd, right?
It
I
is
don't
odd.
think, let's be honest about it. Who wakes up and runs to their parents and goes, I want to be a recruiter?
No one.
Right, so that didn't happen
No.
either. I had my vision set on being a pop star, as most teenage girls do.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was time.
Genre? What were you gonna?
Spice Girls.
I was gonna say Spice Girls, but I didn't want to
Spice Girls.
categorize there. I was gonna let her tell me
Spice Girls
that.
were awesome.
Any of that would have suited.
Yeah.
Although you also know my conversation that it wasn't just a kind of pop thing that I was into. It has
No,
some
you
other
were going deep.
Huge Oasis fan.
You were going deep. You were going meaningful. No.
So, and I remember kind of like genuinely thinking that was what I was going to go and do. And I had a very kind of mutual conversation with my dad, who was like, go get a proper job. And for some reason, for someone who really, really hated maths at the time, ended up doing this like business and finance course, thinking, what was this content? But it had like a bit on HR, it has the stuff from employment law, that it has some people stuff like counselling. And I remember that caught my imagination a bit more than the kind of stats and economics that did. And so, you know, that cubicle thing, I don't know, you know, if you do it in the US, in the UK, you have to go and do this kind of work experience stint. Right. That was the big thing. And for anyone who's of my era in the UK, there was a particular shop where you'd go and buy shiny suits. You had to have shiny suits at work here of a certain age. And I remember going and buying this to put must in my work experience, thinking I was doing any HR stuff. Didn't know what it was, just got told it was good people in an office, and I ended up stuck in shelves thinking, that shiny suit didn't last very long, stuck in shelves. And I just said to them, I'm not doing the rest of this when I'm out. I did, I think, one day, maybe two, so I'm out. And so I'll find my own, I'll sort out my own work experience. And I don't know, even to this day, how I managed it, but I rang up a load of companies and I was really persistent about it. And Nokia took, I think, sympathy. Probably. Like,
you sound like you've been talking to a lot of companies. Come on in. We'll talk with you. Come on.
You're not afraid of the phone. I mean, what I love about that is that most people that don't have a staffing background, they have call reluctance. Especially these days, they want to do everything through the computer. So let's do
They didn't have a
chat.
choice then. I mean, it was phone or phone.
Yeah, that was I don't know if it was reluctance. Like you just didn't have a choice.
You had to call.
Yeah.
No, because Ryan, we hired a staffing firm at one point, and I remember talking to the manager of that particular unit, and she said, "Listen, if they can't make 200 calls a day, we just let them go."
Yeah.
So it's not so much reluctance, but it's the appetite, I guess, to be able to get that much rejection. Because, 200 calls, you're going to have, 198 of them are going to be bad.
Yeah.
Depends who's
no,
calling.
thank you. Click. Whatever.
It depends who's calling.
Yeah. I can see that.
So I just remember thinking, because at the time, you got to remember, Nokia was in its heyday. It was the phone, right? It was the phone.
I still don't understand what happened to him, quite frankly. Like, someone's going to explain it to me at one point. But
we're going to come to find they are the technology and the power behind everything we have today. That's what we're going to find. They're still there. They're hidden. Yeah.
It was like it was a big thing that I remember thinking, that was super cool. And I spent like, I can't know if it was a week or a couple of weeks, something like not very long. And getting involved in NHL stuff, and part of that was recruitment. And I just went, I don't know what this is, but that's what I want to do. That's 100% what I want to do. I mean, it found like you was 2 weeks, right? And then I've told you guys, I've alluded to this story. It is genuinely.
This is my career.
This is going to sound made up, and I swear to you it's not. I went in to, I then went and sort of worked with them for about 6 months. Went and worked for Nokia in the mobile phone section. Not in that we did kind of go buying mobile phone, but in that division. Right. And I loved it. It was brilliant. It was just a contract. I was still proper green. And I walked into a recruitment agency, just a high street agency, and said, look, I need to get a new role. Are we then recruitment? And she said, Kate, I'm in the base up, what do you want? And I said, I want a recruitment job in Nokia. To the fact that
Yeah.
Just
I want a Bentley. Got it. Yep.
And I look back now at the naivety of that statement, like, that's what I want to do. I'll wait for it. And she's like, you have 6 months experience. That is one organisation. You'll be lucky to get in recruitment anywhere. And they'll sitting, and I was like, that's what I want to do. And this is no word of the mind. There's a fax machine behind her. The fax machine starts going, and she takes it out. Remarries. Oh my God, it's a recruitment job at another division of Nokia. I'm like, that's my job, put me forward for it. Yeah, she had absolutely, I don't think she thought I could get a job, but yeah, there I was, several weeks taste from whatever it was.
Another person takes pity. And,
I feel
might
like
have been me stalking them, like repeating the doors.
I feel like we need to go find this woman.
Oh, yeah.
And thank her for your long career.
I know her. I still know her.
Oh, well.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I still know her. Awesome. We talk about this story because no one believes this, but it's a genuine story.
Well, the thing is once you figure out that you want to be in TA, probably figure out that you were going to be good at it and that you could be good at it. And you just, like, again, I think half of the game of TA, especially at that time, was just being confident and being aggressive.
I think it also comes down to just like, what did I know after 2 weeks?
Right.
I think a bit more after 6 months, but even then. Right. But I think if you can connect what you're doing is some broader thing that you enjoy. Like for me, it's people. Right. So again, I've been told always well to have HR for people, but that's the right answer. You should be doing it because it's about
right. HR because I love numbers. Oh,
yeah, and it's not.
I love doing investigations.
And I tell you what, I was a scribe once in those early 6 months, and I was like, I'm not ex Joe's. I mean, I wrote Joe's HR out just on that one thing. So, I think it is about confidence, but it certainly was about Ella. I think it was also I just really enjoyed the people aspect of it and working with all those people and just. I mean, I was in manufacturing as well, so there's some stories that come out of recruiting and manufacturing as well.
The
So,
statute of limitations has run out on some of those stories. Yeah. How
so
was it?
it was just
How
a
was it
brilliant
to
place
like?
to start. Oh, brilliant. I literally some of the best memories. I've still got friends from there even now. We're talking, over 20 years ago now. And
Oh my
yeah,
God.
it was brilliant. It was an amazing place to work. I remember, going out to Helsinki. I remember, I'd never had an opportunity like that before. So
Right.
it was a real, it was a real opportunity. I think I did like probably 5 years at them.
Nice.
I loved it.
And there were a
Fish.
Finnish, and they had an office in Dallas, a huge office in Dallas. And I remember people that worked there telling me that it's different working for a Scandinavian company. Like they actually care about work-life balance. Because I remember them going, yeah, they want us to take time off. Like, even though we're busy, even though things are crazy, whatever, like they want you to go on holiday.
Well,
And
it
I'm
was
like,
different working in manufacturing anyway, because you've got shift work going on around you. So actually, I was very lucky. I think I lived about 2 minutes away from where I worked. So that helps.
that
And
does
then
help.
secondly, on a Friday, we finished at, I think it was 3 or half 3, something like that. And genuinely, these are in the days where everybody would meet up after
Yep,
work. That was just, we
100%.
had everybody would meet afterwards. So
Isn't
there
that
was a
why
real
we
sense
went
of
to the office on
camaraderie.
Fridays?
Sorry, say again?
Yes.
That's why we went to the office on Fridays.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But by that then, there was no choice. It was office or office, right? There was
That's
no
right.
Mhm.
There
option.
was no
No
there
That
was
middle
no
is
ground.
true.
flexibility.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
but you go
option.
to a pub and hang out, drink, have fun.
Yeah, people were down there every Friday, people playing snooker, some people would go for walks, whatever. There was a real sense of camaraderie, I think. And,
Oh
you
wow.
know, I'm lucky. I work for a business now that is completely opposite, fully remote, fully remote.
Right.
I toss it around the country, fully remote. You have to take really big responsibility for still having that camaraderie that,
Yeah.
we're talking about years ago would have been solely when you're based in an office.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. So you bring up a good point. You were at, and obviously this is a long time ago, right? We all had to be in the office, right, when you were there. Where you're at now with Talent Labs, you're fully remote.
fully.
There are, I'm assuming, a lot of people that have been in HR or recruiting for a very long time that are listening to the show. And they're now maybe in management, right? They've stepped up, they're in management. They're having trouble managing from being in an office and growing up in an office to managing a fully remote team at this point. And it kind of feels like old news to me. I'm not sure how you guys feel about this. It feels like old news to me because it's been a couple of years now
Yeah.
that we've all been fully remote. But for the person who is struggling to really build a camaraderie and to really build that connection, how have you made that transition?
I think it's a really interesting question. And transition's a funny word because we've always been remote at the Talent Labs. We were
Right.
remote first, right? So this was not on the back of the pandemic, for example. And I get that, therefore, there is a different thing between a business trying to, or a team even just trying to transition from something that looks like one thing and becomes another. And I do think that that's more difficult to a degree. I think general principles, general advice, you've got to want to still connect with people. Like if you're one of these that just wants to be solo, heads down, then that sort of team isn't going to work for you, right? So I think it's about how you open up as many different channels for people as possible, because not everybody loves the same thing. Some people are very happy to have someone on the phone very regularly. Some people need a bit of headspace. Some people like chit chat, others don't. So I think just generally you have to think about how do you open up different channels. And some of that's about work stuff, and some of that is about you as human beings, you one person in front, sharing. We put so many cats and dogs between us in this team is ridiculous. It can be just sharing stuff like that. Like if there's not one person in the team that hasn't met my dog at some point, right?
That's
So
what you'd have been doing on a walk or at the pub or whatever. You'd have been talking about your kids or
Yeah.
parents or whatever else. So it's the same stuff. It's the intentionality of everyone involved. I think had we not been all through COVID, I think, it's probably another 15 years out for mainstream companies to be remote. But because we're all forced on a Thursday to be remote, we had to figure it out. And again, some people figured it out better than others. Some companies that started fully remote, like, didn't see any change. I mean, I think for us, Ryan and I worked at a company at the time, but we were fully remote.
No.
What changed for us was our Zoom calls used to be just calls. We just, instead of using our cell phone, we'd use Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden during COVID, we'd turn on our video.
Yeah.
That was the only difference. That was the only change.
That's not the only change. You had to start wearing clothes. Like, I legit had to go. I had to actually start to get a wardrobe. Like, this is what I own. Like, this is it right here. And I struggle. I do. This is one of my not my superpower. I struggle, Rachel, to find clothes to wear. Because
but this is the thing about intentionality. I want to pick up on what you said, William, and it kind of connects to what you were talking about as well, right? Which is there's intentionality about how you're going to work and the kind of culture that you want to create and the team that you want to be part of, right? That every single person has to be intentional about that to a degree. The second thing is interesting about the kind of clothing, but this might be really personal to me, I suspect it is. I get up as if I'm going to my head's fist every day.
You're the only one. We found the
oddball. Here she is.
No, we found
I'm owning it.
You put on makeup the whole bit. You do that
the whole
every
thing.
day.
The hair.
Even if you're not going to talk to me. Even if you're not going to talk to me.
That's not about necessarily to do with how I want to look. That is how I want to feel. So for me, there is something about you coming in with that intentional purpose. And listen, you know what? I own it. People love that. I get it. But for me, that's about when I sit down at the desk.
You need to.
That's what I want to feel like.
Does it frustrate you ever when you get on a call and people don't turn on their video?
Does it frustrate me?
Like,
listen, everyone's got their own reasons, right? I mean, as I have some backgrounds, I certainly have, the joys of kids and dogs and all sorts of things.
It's likely you might see some kids walking through the door.
Yeah. I get it. So I don't know if frustrate is the wrong word. I do think at events is a very human thing, isn't it? Being able to see someone eye to eye, being able to see someone smile at you or not smile at you.
Right.
Gives you some cues about how that conversation's going. But it doesn't frustrate me. I think everybody's got their own stuff though. I might ask the question, hey, you want to put your camera on? But it's more about whether someone's comfortable as well as whether they're able to, right? So
it's interesting you say that because I don't really, I guess I think about it, but I don't think about what I'm wearing to the home office. If I don't wear sneakers or shoes, like I don't feel like I can't work without shoes on.
Really? Is that true?
Is that really weird? Like I need an old school mouse, right? So for those that are not watching, I'm holding up the mouse, right? And when I talk, I kind of need a headset. Like I don't feel like I can think and be creative. Now, I will say, sitting in front of the camera, sitting here in this little box does hinder my creativity. It does. And I have not gotten past that yet. If I walk around, you will get a much better conversation from me.
But that's really interesting too, because you were talking about like what changed for you, which is this video on, and you were having calls and then suddenly the video was on. But I think that there's a massive place for phone calls. Like we talked about me not having a phone call in the 90s. I still am a bit of a fan because there's that other thing, which is you cannot just tap your box all day. Doesn't matter if you're remote or not. I am not going to claim, like there are people listening from my team going, this is very advice that you don't think way too far. There is something about, even if you're going down to make a cup of tea or you're walking the dog or you're whatever it is, still having a conversation while you're doing something else, like moving around. I have talking about making people have conversations in a genuine break time. I'm talking about, how do you just, for me, I'm a pacer. So if anyone's ever seen me present, I am a videographer's worst nightmare. I've been told so many times because I pace really badly. And I'm the same on the phone. If I want to have a conversation where it doesn't need to be on video, sometimes I'll say, let's just do a phone call, because I am more creative when I can move around. So if I'm brainstorming with somebody, I'll be walking for some reason. I don't know. It's just a thing.
That's for both of y'all. That's fascinating. I haven't given that any thought, and I will now. So, what made you leave Nokia?
Do you know, I was made redundant, and it was that was a really tough thing to deal with, because I was still probably young, and I'd never experienced something like that before.
Right.
And actually, this is going to sound quite a bit deep. I really grieved that job. Like, I
100%.
loved that job, and I was probably naive to think, this is it, that job done. I'm staying here till I'm, retired. And I just, again, that was a really hard thing, because when you do have a job that you love and you really enjoy the people that you're working with and stuff, that was a difficult but probably very important lesson to go through, because not least I remember not doing a great job of spending my redundancy money wisely, but
Right.
it was an important thing to go through, but it was really hard at the time. I was gutted. Right.
Oh yeah.
This is where Tori Amos came in.
Yes.
Yeah, there was some sad, very thoughtful music going on during that period.
You started listening to a bunch of Morrissey. We get it. Totally understand. Borderline suicidal. Got it.
Yeah.
What did you do after? So after you found out that there was a period of mourning?
Actually, changed direction mildly for a while. So I actually went to work in my family business, which it isn't in the same guys now, but and kind of went and did some HR stuff. That's very different working with families, very different working in such a small organisation at the time. And so after that, I then went to Unilever. Now, I was at Unilever 15 years, so we're talking a long stint. Like, that's unusual, I know.
Different positions, though. I mean, obviously, you moved around.
Different positions, of course. And I was very lucky. Like, I had a very nice career there, doing lots of different things. But I remember getting a phone call from the agency, and I didn't know who they were, which
it makes sense.
I kind of sounds crazy now. And then I remember going to my couples who go, oh,
they make that. And that
yeah,
and
that. So I followed the brands, and so I was there 15 years doing various different jobs. Which was super cool, and then Toby's talent now. So,
did you ever do college recruiting?
I didn't. Early careers? No, I didn't. I was pretty much mid-careers for most of it, but did lots of different types of functions. So kind of various different levels. I mean, we're talking the days of. I was talking something about this other day. Angelica Rachel, as TV presenter in the UK. Like, it's just back in the days when you ran around, flying across the country with a bit bored and stopwatch doing assessment centres and stuff. It was a very different role to what recruiters are doing now. Like, I take my hat off to recruiters nowadays, because it was a very, very different world. You had a massive brand that people wanted to work for. You had a list of agencies that you could pick up the phone to. In terms of what recruiters do now, and certainly the team that I used to lead, I just think they do a phenomenal job, because the different hats that they have to wear is incredible. At the start of every training session that I do, and I'm probably on the show with most sort of seminars I've ever done, we're talking about this life cycle of talent acquisition, right? But we don't often talk about the roles that we play against each of those things. And we're quite unapologetic about talking about that, whether it's with hiring managers or recruiters themselves, because actually it's really there's the super cool roles. You're a brand ambassador, you're a talent scout, you're a marketeer, you're a salesperson, you're an experience maker, all of these kind of different roles that you play. But we just talk about like recruiter as if it's kind of like back office job. We all know it's not. So
we talked about intention throughout your career when you mentioned it a couple of times. So Rachel, my question is, how did you? So you were with we use Unilever. You're there 15 years. Did you have a very specific plan for yourself, right? So I'm thinking let me kind of backtrack here. I'm thinking of the person who gets into a large organization and is afraid they're going to fall into the 2024 way of work. I'm only going to be here for 12 months and then I'm out, or 18 months and then I'm out. How does somebody build a career within a company intentionally and do those moves within a company to continue to grow? How did you do
And I
that?
think there's a big difference between, yeah, so people raise eyebrows if you say you've been somewhere 15 years. I
Oh,
get
yeah.
it. But
Oh, yeah.
particularly you would get a portfolio careers. I get it.
Yeah.
But I think if you can do a variety of different roles, that shouldn't matter. But that's the crux, right? It can't be to stay doing what you're doing forever. So for me, I think there was a couple of things. One is I probably made myself various other people, and I was nosy enough to go and get to know other people. I was very lucky because there were global teams, there were regional teams, there were local teams. That there was a lot of opportunity. I'm not going to pretend there wasn't a lot of opportunity in an organisation like that.
Right.
So I think it was then also looking at certain. I have people in mind where I would look at them and think, "How did I do what you're doing? How did you get to do what you're doing?" And so there were a couple of people who I asked to be my mentor, for example. Sometimes probably with them being me. But actually, then I ended up doing those kind of roles because I learned so much from them. And some of those things were really small but powerful things that I still sort of hang on to now. Some of the more technical things. But actually kind of identifying, oh, that job just looks so cool. How do I become that? How do I become you? And kind of just going and learning from that person. I was really lucky. I had some really super cool managers and leaders. There was a couple in particular that stand out, and I think a couple of them saw potentially that I probably didn't, maybe. So I had some whole conversations with people as well around me, like, you need to do X, Y, Z, and stop mucking about because we'll put investment in you, but you need to see that done potentially yourself. I had a couple of whole conversations like that. But I'm glad I had them because they were right. They gave me a kick up the reins probably that I needed. So yeah, and then I think it was just about kind of figuring out, you know, like anybody, where do you want to get to? What's the bit where you're going to get to? And so I'm happy with that. I didn't want any big, shiny, huge thing necessarily. I wanted to do work that I really loved. Well, who doesn't? No.
Well, there's a bunch of people. So thank goodness for it. Yeah. So hardest role at Unilever that you got yourself into, and second to that is the hardest role to fill at Unilever that you had.
Gosh, you're asking me to cast my memory back, aren't you?
I know. Well,
I think global roles by nature can be amazing and difficult because you have to really think about, to give an expertise role, which I was in, you have a real responsibility to think about what is the market that you're used to operating in,
right?
Not all of them. And that was a really, again, tough lesson to learn because I'd always worked in local roles and I'd probably been quite naive about what it was like to work in a global role. It was my favourite role. It was also the toughest transition, I would say, to some degree, because I learned so much. So that's probably toughest. Toughest role. Oh my goodness me. I've recruited a few. Probably something like sensory technicians. Exactly.
Oh,
so
sensory technician, are these people that touch and feel and hear and all that stuff? And
exactly. So, you know, you might have people that can test deodorant efficiency. So I'm sure there's things of, well, I don't know what that looks like now, but back then, I was human beings. So, yeah.
That's I used to work with a company that was by the Philadelphia airport called Otten's Flavors, and they develop flavors for foods, artificial flavoring. And they gave us a tour of the facility. They're super clean, right? Like sterile spaces, lab coats, the whole bit. And they'd give you things to taste, and like, well, what do you taste? A sugar? Like, that was the extent of my ability, right? Sugar.
Yeah,
Kind of
you're not.
feels like I'm smelling some root beer and sugar. I don't know.
Yeah, you're not good for this job.
I'm not good for this job. No. And they break it down to the chemical. And
Yeah,
like they're
yeah.
able to say, okay, well, if we do this, if we add a little bit here, this is what's going to trigger in the person's head.
It's
And this
amazing.
is what's going to
There's
make
a
them
whole
want
science behind
more,
it.
or less of this and more. It's like, wow, this is crazy. And we just went and recruited these people. But it fascinated me, but I could never do that job. That's why that's
Sensory
interesting.
technician.
And actually, that even back in the Nokia days, I worked very closely with research and development. And they were talking a long time ago. Did I understand it all of the time? No. Was I absolutely fascinated by it? And did that keep me wanting to do it? Absolutely. So
Yeah, felt good to be in the room.
super interesting people. Super interesting people. So
So
not
the
easy
question
to
of being you hit on it at the beginning, being a practitioner for so many years, and then jumping over to being probably more of a consultant and an advisor, which is fascinating because you could see other people's problems, really, really easily. Like you walk in and go, yeah, that's wrong. And they're like, really? Yep, that's wrong.
The hell are you thinking?
They've been walking by it for months on end. Like, I don't know what's going wrong. Yep, it's right there. So I think it's easier to see other people's problems and also kind of give them ways to fix it because you don't have to fix it. As a practitioner, someone can come along and say, yeah, your ATS is horribly configured and you don't really use it, et cetera, et cetera. And when you're in that, it's almost personal. But when a consultant says it, it frees you up to go, well, you know what? We need to really think about that. Yeah, the configuration is off. We're not really using it. We're not getting the maximum value out of the technology. So do you miss anything about being a practitioner?
Of course. I think just to go back to one thing you said, I think some people do know their own problems. I think it's, there's a lot of TA people who are really open about going, you know what, I just need some help fixing this, or I just want to validate that this is the problem. Because they're busy people, like, who are grappling with so many, that is the priorities at the moment. I mean, we at our analysts, it's massive. These are not small things when you're talking about candidate experience, EV, EVP, data and analytics, AI. I mean, the list goes on, and that's on the day job of just functioning recruitment. So I do think for a lot of people, it's getting a reassurance that problem they think they've got is the problem that they've got, and just we're there to kind of help navigate that. So that's the first thing I'd say. Do I miss stuff about being a practitioner? Of course, I don't think you can do something for that long and not miss parts of that. I think if you can't miss something that you love, then I'd question whether you loved it in the first place, personally. I miss a clipboard and miss running around like that. That couldn't do it now, but it was good times. At the time, I worked in a very large office. I think that was, for the moment in my life that I was at, that was a really enjoyable thing. I had some super cool people that I worked with, and learned from a lot of travel, which was also great. It's a different time of your life as well, though, isn't it? So would I want to be doing that again in that same way now, necessarily? Probably not. But was it great at the time? Absolutely, of course it was. It was fantastic. So, and I think, if you can take something from every job that you do and take it into the next one that you do, some of that would be great stuff. Some of that would be, oh yeah, I won't be doing it like that again because I really got that wrong. Right. You can kind of reflect back and say, what are the things that I want to keep doing or replicate or try more of? What are the new things I'm going to try because I've got the opportunity to do it in this new job? And then what are the things that I'm going to be like, yeah, let's just leave that.
Yeah,
off of that one again.
Yeah. All right, two things for me, and it'll be my final question, I promise. So you both can probably answer this. Do you ever? So I used to stock shelves. This was my first job, stocking shelves and pushing carts, right? Do you ever go back into a grocery store or a retail store or something, and you see somebody stocking? You're like, no, let me show you how to do this better. And I kind of want to do it, and I still fix things sometimes. Number one, and then
Twisted it around.
Yeah, it's kind of like face it the proper way. Yeah. So, but my question is, which I know you guys have thoughts on that one, but my final question for you, Rachel, is what has been the biggest shift in motivation for you from when you started your first job out of college, etc., to now? What motivated you then versus
Well, good question.
While you're pondering,
Go for it.
Ryan, I still know the department codes at both Albertsons and Walmart. So I can walk through a Walmart and tell you the department codes of every department in a Walmart.
That is a skill.
So not only as
he is
a
the
long
Doogie
time ago,
Howser of retail.
not only
That's
not only
amazing.
can I tell you the department codes, I can tell you the markup on certain products. So yeah, I mean, people stocking. I ran a night crew for almost 2 years. So I went in at let's say 10 and got off at 8, and I ran. We
Yeah.
had like 7 or 8 trucks a night. So
Yeah.
it's different when you run it at night because there's no customers. There's nobody there. The store's shut down, and so trash is everywhere. You can do when you're stocking during the day. You've got to actually care
You've got to care.
about.
Yeah,
You got to care about people and safety and all that
Yeah.
other stuff. But
I was never
anyhow,
allowed to work overnight. So,
oh man, it was
yeah.
fantastic.
So I had to work during the day and actually do it respectfully and,
Yeah,
thank you, ma'am.
No.
Excuse me.
box cutters and
Yeah.
meth.
That came so
Yeah.
natural again then. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Two things that should not go together: box cutters and meth.
Motivation, Rachel. What motivated you
Motivation.
then till now?
Is it very bad to admit that, look, we're talking London version. I think I was really keen on being senior as possible, as quickly as possible, and having a nice lifestyle, right? I don't think many people would argue that you're in your 20s. Slacking now, not in my 20s, we'll leave it there. Genuinely, so I did some work recently on Ikigai. I'm a bit of a fan of it, if you know about kind of the model of purpose. And when I mapped it out, I was like, I'm actually doing something I love. And I get that is just like the most stock answer that everyone is expected to give. But genuinely, for me, go back to the pop store and dream. If you can say something, if you can make every interaction something a little bit positive for somebody, if you can create a light bulb moment to somebody, I don't go in and say I know it all. Like, that's not my job. My job is not to go in and say I know it all. That's not how you do it. You do it like this. My job is to give people the opportunity to talk about some different ideas, maybe, and for them to do the same with me. And I might learn straight away, might learn something. So I think it's more about facilitating different ways of doing it and going in and saying that's the correct way to do it. I claim so. If you have that's a ridiculous term, no one does. Certainly not me. So, I think it's about motivation now. Come away knowing that you've understood the problem that someone's trying to solve and you've helped them solve it. And that's probably pinned out the way I'm labeled it.
Jobs Mike walks off stage. Rachel,
Thank you.
thank you so much. This has been fantastic. You've had a wonderful career, and thanks for sharing your journey with us.